Good morning, and welcome to the third edition of HM Soundbites, a peek into the heart and mind of your headmaster. This time, I'll be talking about the mission and identity of Jesuit schools. There are quite a number of important recent documents that shape Jesuit education today. Each document has its own purpose, but together they present a comprehensive response to the mission of the Society of Jesus. More often than not, documents such as these would come about as a result of important events and key milestones in contemporary Jesuit education. The impetus for these events and milestones sometimes come from new leadership within the society and a new call to mission among the Jesuit congregation and its lay partners. For instance, the most recent document entitled The Universal Apostolic Preferences is the fruit of a process of discernment lasting almost 2 years. All Jesuits were invited to take part, and in addition, their mission partners. It concluded with a confirmation from Pope Francis in a special meeting with Father General Arturo Sosa. The preferences give a horizon, a point of reference to the whole Society of Jesus. They unite us in our mission. The new preferences are four areas vital for our world today. They are: number one, showing the way to God; number two, walking with the excluded; number three, journeying with the youth; and number four, caring for our common home. Now, how is the renewed province plan related to the UAPs? In layman's terms, the RPP is a necessary rearticulation of the UAPs, given the context of the Philippines. The Philippine Jesuits also went through a process of communal discernment to evaluate and chart the direction for the mission and works of the province. These are not only aligned with the UAPs, but also aim to address our very unique concerns as a nation. Here is the renewed province plan in five trusts. Number one, number two, number three, number four, and number five. These are what we call our five loaves. The pursuit of these province thrusts or commitments does not rest solely within the Jesuit religious community, but also relies heavily on the capacity of the laity, the community, ministry, and institutions under it. In effect, the Ateneo de Manila, being part of the Philippine Jesuit ministry and apostolate, also has to engage in some form of personal and communal discernment. This is to see how it can live out and even struggle with our vowed commitments and shared mission. We have intended to call it AMDG 2030, but the question is, which document should we set our eyes on? Where should our focus be? Father Jose Mesa, International Secretary of Jesuit Education, tells us that we should focus on all documents, both the existing and the emerging. Each piece of document calls for the others. Each stands in a dynamic relationship that completes and enriches the others. Separately, important as they are, they cannot communicate the complexity and depth of Jesuit education. But put together, they capture the contemporary understanding of the holistic education offered by Jesuit schools like the Ateneo. So, as part of our Ignatian Year celebration, we are going to share with you in the succeeding weeks the renewed province plans of the Philippine province, one thrust at a time. These RPPs, remember, got their inspiration from the UAPs, and these RPPs will likely serve as inspiration as well for the reimagining of Ateneo's AMDG 2030. Again, this has been another edition of HM Soundbites. See you again next time.
What is the Philippine Province Renewed Province Plan for 2021-2023? It is a collective response of the Philippine Province, the Jesuits and its mission partners, our communities, and our institutions to the challenges of the day. First, we have seen and experienced the havoc created by the COVID-19 virus, resulting in the great suffering of our people through illness and death, loss of lives and livelihood, and the worsening poverty and destruction of people's lives, hopes, and dreams. Indeed, the pandemic exposed the deeply embedded political, social, and economic inequalities in our society. Second, we have seen and experienced the creeping authoritarianism that has enveloped the Philippine nation, resulting in the death of thousands of Filipinos due to the war on drugs, the breakdown of the rule of law, the abuse of power and its impunity, the assault on and weakening of democratic institutions, the intolerance of dissent, and the almost total capitulation of our national interests to China. It is in this present context that we put forward our collective response through the renewed province plan in terms of the 5 trusts, namely, Thrust 1, fostering integrity and accountability in our communities and our institutions. Thrust 2, feed the hungry, especially our children, and create sustainable livelihoods. Thrust 3, summon our youth to engage citizenship. Thrust 4, build faith-based hope and resiliency. And finally, Thrust 5, cultivate personal and institutional ecological conversion. The urgent challenges of the day compel us Jesuits and our mission partners to first re-examine the fidelity of our way of life, to return to the Lord's call as articulated in General Congregation 36 for renewal of Jesuit life and mission, and together to beg for God's grace to fulfill it. The pursuit of these province trusts relies heavily on our capacity as individuals, communities, and institutions to engage in personal and collective examination of conscience and to see how we can live out and struggle with our vowed commitments to Jesuit life and our shared mission. At the beginning of the pandemic last year, Pope Francis said in an interview, "The pandemic can be a place of conversion." He invited us to reflect on how we as individuals and as a society can respond to the great suffering caused by the pandemic, especially to those in the peripheries. This pandemic can be a grace moment where we turn away from our selfish preoccupations and turn to the needs of those most impacted by the pandemic: the sick, dying, hungry, jobless, and losing hope. 1 year hence, we still have the opportunity to move towards that desired conversion as we celebrate two very significant events in 2021. We are grateful for the 5th centenary of Christianity in the Philippines and the 5th centenary of the conversion of Saint Ignatius of Loyola. These two events can truly inspire and encourage us to live our Christian lives more faithfully and deeply. It can be a moment of grace as we plan and engage in activities related to these two centenaries. These twin celebrations, therefore, with the planning and implementing of the province plan, can renew our experience with God by directing our efforts toward those most impacted by the pandemic and the volatile national and political landscape. Mary, patroness of the Philippines, pray for us. Saint Ignatius of Loyola, pray for us.